Hi everyone, this is Dr. Guan here. Welcome back to my channel. Do you worry about your blood pressure? Have your doctor told you to watch your diet, cut down your salt intake every time you go see them? Well, today I'm going to talk about 7 easy steps to start to reduce your sodium in your diet. So, if you have seen me in the office and I recommend you to reduce your sodium intake, you're probably going to ask me, how much sodium can I take? Or how much salt can I take a day? Well, during the office, I don't have the capacity to show you. That's why I'm doing this video here. So today I'm going to demonstrate how much sodium you actually can have a day. Okay, so per American Heart Association, we can consume up to 2,300 milligrams salt per day. Now, if you have blood pressure problems or heart issues, then the recommendation is less than 1,500 milligrams. Well, let me tell you, even the 2,300 milligram is pretty difficult, even for me. So let's stick with that, because I feel like if we can make small changes, then eventually we can really help to reduce blood pressure. Okay, so here is 2,300 milligrams salt, so that equals 1 teaspoon. I have the half teaspoon right here, so this is a half teaspoon, and then okay, make sure this is flat, and then here we go. I don't know if you can see it, but this is how much salt you can have per entire day. Now, I think if you say, well, this is a lot of salt for me, I agree. I don't think we need to use that much salt for one particular dish. However, if you think about starting breakfast, if you eat cheese, if you eat different kind of, like ham or sausage patty, everything. So all the salt actually accumulates. So I'm going to talk about 7 easy steps help you to, well, I guess it's remind you to reduce the sodium on the daily basis. Step 1, remove your salt shaker. Put it away, hide it, don't see it, don't leave it on the dinner table. Please taste your food before you add anything. Actually, you really don't need to add any salt. Food probably just tastes just as good. So remove the salt shaker, and that's something very easy to do. Second step, learn how to read label correctly. This is something I'm learning too. So I'm just gonna show you something here. Let's start with this. So this is something we use pretty frequently in my household, black beans, and I usually get the low sodium one. So it says sodium is 85 milligrams. So okay, well, this is not too bad, 85 milligrams sodium. But then you have to make sure you look at how many serving is in this container. So this is about 3.5 servings. So if you use the whole can of beans, you gotta time 3.5. So 85 times 3.5. What's the math?
It's about 240.
About 240 milligrams of sodium. Okay, and this is one of the food items that considered to have low sodium. All right, let's do another example. So this is another common items we have in our household, chicken stock, and it's organic, seems to be pretty healthy. So when I look at the sodium on the side, it says sodium 440 milligrams. So I thought, not too bad. Not until I learned that, okay, you also need to look at how many serving per container. So this is 4 serving per container. And 4 times 440, that's about 1,700. Okay, so typically when I make, there's a one dish I make frequently, with some chicken, with chicken stock. So I will use 2 of this. So that will be 1,700 milligrams times 2. So that will be 3,200. And then plus probably a couple cans of this. But on top of that, I still add my other seasoning, such as garlic salt, right? and some Cajun seasoning as well. So as you can see, sodium really can add up in our food. Okay, so please learn how to read the label correctly and count how much sodium you're putting in your food. Step 3, avoid using seasoning that already contain salt in them. So for example, I just mentioned, which I need to probably get rid of this is pretty old anyway, onion salt, right? So it's already got a lot of sodium in there. This one has sodium of 380 milligram in 1/4 of teaspoon. Imagine a quarter of teaspoon have 380. This little guy here. And this is another common thing that we use in our household. So soy sauce. Soy sauce has a lot of sodium, salt in them. Okay, so ready for it? This one, in 1 tablespoon, if you put 1 tablespoon of this soy sauce, it contains 1100 milligrams of sodium. And when we cook, we usually put not only the soy sauce, we probably put some other sauce like wholesome sauce or whatever. So all the sodium can add up in your food. It does make your food taste better, to someone who's accustomed to high sodium food, but it's really not good for your blood pressure, for your heart health, okay? Instead, what we need to try to use is seasoning that does not have salt in them, like the natural dry or fresh herb, whichever you prefer. So we shop quite a bit at Costco because their price is very friendly, budget friendly, and the quantity is pretty large. So I got this parsley flakes, and you can read the label here. Well, there's no sodium in here. There's absolutely no sodium at all. And if you like some kicks to your food, and this crushed red pepper is pretty good too. They don't have sodium, so basically just add a seasoning to your food. The other things I'm learning from Cooking Channel is we can also use citrus fruits like lemon, lime, or pineapple juice to marinate our foods or meats. So that will be a lot healthy alternative for you to add in your food. And also vinegar. Vinegar is also a good product to use without much salt in there at all. But one thing you need to know is that our taste bud can be retrained. If you just stick with low sodium diet for a week or 2, your taste bud will use to the new sodium level in your food. Trust me, I've done that. I would try that. So we're trying to really reduce sodium in our household. Step 4, avoid convenient foods such as canned soups, canned vegetable, TV dinner, or frozen dinners, because they usually have higher concentration of sodium in the food. But I understand sometimes we just don't have time to cook, and TV dinner sounds very good. Just pop in the microwave. If you have to get one of them, and try to find the low sodium substitute. Okay, so I still recommend to cook fresh foods, because then you can have much better control how much sodium you put in the food, or just don't add any sodium at all. Fresh food actually tastes very good. Now, if you do have to use canned vegetable, which I do that sometimes, what I do is I will just rinse the vegetable first before I put in the pot to cook. So that way you can also reduce the amount of sodium in the food as well. Step 5. So this is about eating out. I know everybody is staying home because we're in COVID-19, so eating out is not a bigger problem right now. But once everything gets better, I'm sure everybody's gonna go eat out at some times. So I think we always tend to eat more than what we really need to when we're eating out in the restaurant, because food tastes delicious and they have more seasoning. So if you have good control, you can just eat a small portion of it and save the rest to take home, and you can eat it for another day. So that's one way to reduce amount of sodium you're gonna put in your body, but still get to eat out, taste great food once in a while. But if you don't have great control, like I do sometimes. So I will portion my food in a to-go box first before I start eating it. So I just, I stop myself from eating too much. The other healthy alternative is that when you pick your side items, you can always choose steamed vegetable. You can ask your waiter or waitress to ask the kitchen to not add additional sodium or salt into your food. So there's multiple ways that you can still have relative healthier dinner when you're out with your family, enjoy your food. So, and what about French fries? So French fries is one of my favorite, and I think that's the hardest thing for me to cut out. And usually they have a lot of sodium on there. So usually I try to make French fries at home, but it just doesn't taste the same. So what I do, which is very silly, I will kind of either tell them don't add salt if they're already salted, and I'll just rub off the salt. You just shake it off and then you eat it. We all have our weaknesses. French fries is one of mine. So we all have to work on it, right? So next step 6, try to avoid cured meat. So here, salami, and this is my husband's weakness. He likes those, okay? It has a lot of sodium. So it's always better to get fresh or frozen meat or seafood. So that way you can, you can control your sodium a lot better than the meat that's already marinated or smoked or canned, because they typically have a lot higher concentration of sodium. Step 7. So you really need to pay attention on this one. If you love cheese, you really need to pay attention to the label, how much sodium is in your cheese. Because I have a lot of patients tells me that they don't really add any sodium or any salt to their food. They don't add any salt at all. They don't eat fried food. They eat very healthy, but they love cheese. So they eat cheese pretty much at least 2 meals a day, So, so whatever you have in your house, we have in our household too. So well, some cheese actually has more sodium than other. So Swiss cheese or mozzarella cheese, those are the lower sodium content, I think. So this one has about 190 milligrams of sodium in 1/4 cup, in a fourth of a cup. So this whole bag is about 40 servings. So that's about 7,000 sodium in this bag of cheese. And last weekend I used half of it, so that's about 3,500. So if you make grilled cheese, sometimes each slice of cheese has about 140 milligrams of sodium. So, when you make your sandwiches, you may want to think about how many slices of cheese you're gonna put in them. Well, I understand it's difficult. Just try to avoid all kinds of food you love from your diet. That's why I'm not here to tell you to get rid of all the things that you love. As you can see, I have all this in my household as well. But the goal is that when we eat, we need to pay attention. So maybe instead of putting 4 slices of cheese, maybe you can try doing 2 slices. Instead of putting, like for my mom, she loves to use soy sauce. Maybe instead of using, 4 tablespoons, let's cut in half to 2. So that way we can train our taste bud to use to the lower sodium content. Because I don't think if we cut everything out drastically, that's gonna last. That's not gonna work. It's really taking the small steps that's really gonna make a huge impact in the long run. Well, I hope this video is helpful. And if you have any questions, please leave me comments. And I will see you guys next week.